Hi there. I want to take a minute to talk about survival mode. I have been thinking about it a lot, and especially because I've been watching The Walking Dead. My boyfriend finally convinced me after all these years, and it's a very good show. But where are my 1980 babies at that are scarred from life from the Thriller video? I was like, yay, high standing on a couch watching the Thriller video, and I shouldn't have been, and I can't stand zombies. So I have to look away at those times. But I'm really glad I started watching the show, and I truly believe that things happen for a reason, and I'm watching the show to kind of help me during the time I'm in right now. And why I want to kind of talk about, or why I've been thinking about survival mode. Is because The Walking Dead, their survival mode looks a lot different than ours in 2026, and I kind of want to do a comparison so you can see the difference, and so we can talk about survival mode and what it looks like for us. So I wrote down, just so I wouldn't forget, just a short description of survival mode, just in case you don't know what it is. The body's prolonged stress response activating fight, flight, or freeze instincts to cope with overwhelming threats, real or perceived. So, like, not that your threat isn't real, but it would be more of a perceived threat than a real one, like The Walking Dead, where there's a walker or whatever you want to call it chasing you, and you have to literally fight to survive, right? And so if you look at The Walking Dead and how we live in 2026, ours is more psychological and theirs is more physical threats, right? So our threats are would be trauma, like generational trauma, chronic stress, constant digital stimulation. I don't think people realize how much our technology kind of activates that stress. It does for me. I notice it. So disconnection with people is a big one. I believe it's it makes us feel a certain way. And I think it's different for everybody, but the disconnection and the connection we have with technology is something that I truly believe is a stressor for us and a threat to how we're operating in the world today. So, um, with Walking Dead, their real threats are zombies, people, right? Um, Supplies, food, health, like luckily in 2026, they have, well, a lot of people are gone, but they have the knowledge to treat people for wounds or health issues. But if you think about the Stone Age, they didn't have that, and they were living in a physical survival mode. So, their threats were they didn't have medicine, okay? They died very young because of that. They had the physical threats. I feel like it was more of a like the weather threats, the shelters that they didn't have homes like we did, or we do. But also, food. They had to get their own food, and I don't think people were as much of a threat as they were like the animals and stuff like that. But I'm sure they had difficulties with people, and that could have been a threat for them. So I'm not minimizing our survival mode now, because I believe there's a lot of people living in survival mode, and it's real. I mean, we do have real threats too, like people are worried about war, or maybe there's abuse going on that you're experiencing. I mean, there are actual real life threats that are scary. I'm not minimizing that, but for me, it was more of a perspective thing, because I'll tell you right now, if I were in The Walking Dead or the Stone Age, I don't know how long I would survive. Like, that's scary to me. Where somebody from The Walking Dead, well, I guess the Stone Age, if they tried to live in 2026, they would be lost. but I feel like they could survive better than we could if we were in a physical environment where we had to actually fight. And for us nowadays, I feel like a lot of us are living more in the freeze or flight state. And that's challenging because, for me with my anxiety, because that's what these things cause, right? The survival mode causes anxiety. One of the things that it caused, irritability, I definitely see that in me right now, but anxiety for real. It's been causing anxiety to the point where I'm having panic attacks, and that the health issue, the health scare that you have when you're experiencing that anxiety, it is not good for us to live in the survival mode because it affects our body and our mental state. Okay. And again, not minimizing what you're going through, but I'm bringing it to your attention so you could try to see it from a different perspective and maybe attack that survival mode instinct that way, because your financial stress or your relationship stress, like those are all real, but can you perhaps look for tools to help you? Like for me right now, I am talking to my therapist. I am going to see a psychiatrist to make sure I'm on the right medication. I am meditating. I am doing everything I can to try to help me. And you have to, because no one's going to do it for you, right? And I know how unhealthy it is to live in this state because I've experienced extreme anxiety before, and it really affected my body to the point where I couldn't get up out of bed. Okay. And I couldn't walk. I had trouble walking. This affects this. Okay. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up so we could discuss it and try to find a solution. And maybe you're already working on one, but this is a safe space to share what you're going through. Because for me, when I am watching The Walking Dead and I like the psychological piece and I'm looking at each character and how they operate and what their survival mode looks like, and it brings out true colors of people, like Shane, where he's trying to take out his best friend because his ego is bruised and he wants these things that he has as well. So, I believe we are a lot better off than a lot of other places in this country, or not this country, this world. The United States as a country is a lot better off than the rest of the world, a lot of the rest of the world, because they are living in the physical survival mode. Okay, a lot of them are living in the physical survival mode, and we are blessed with shelter, most of us, shelter and technology, and we have a lot of things and we don't realize it. So I'd like you to open up your mind and look at the perspective and express gratitude for the things you have, and maybe doing so will help you work on that survival mode where things might not be as bad as they seem. And the freeze aspect of the survival mode, for me, that's what I'm experiencing a lot, where it's very hard for me to function, and because of my grief, function and survive financially and those kind of things. That's where I see it for my survival mode right now in this moment. But I want to hear about you. Like, what are you experiencing? What things are you, what tools are you utilizing to help yourself? What have you learned about your survival mode? What, anything you want to share, like do a video, respond in a comment. We're here for each other. And this is a good thing to talk about right now because I feel like it's really important. I hope this helps.